How was your weekend? Good. Did it go too fast, or you felt like you were productive? You could do whatever you wanted to do. What is your comment on that? It went too fast? No. For me, it went too fast. It always does. Like my time always flies. I don't know why. How was your first week of the semester? Did you go to all of your classes for the semester? Did you meet all of your instructors? My own class, which I'm going to take, it will start from Thursday. I'm kind of nervous. It will be a research class, so you're going to read a lot and going to write a lot. So I'm going to have a very tough semester this semester. Any question from any of you before we start? Any comments, concern, complaint? Nothing yet? So let's see how much you remember from last week. Who can tell me the format of a cost function? How do you figure out cost function? What's the format? The C of x equals let's say nx plus d. N means number of items. X means, sorry, the other way around. P is the price, X is the number of items. So M is better. It's price per item. X is number of items. And what is D? The fixed price, the like monthly pay. We call it overhead cost. So it's like monthly bill. Monthly bill. Like overhead cost. So number of items times price per each items plus your monthly cost, your monthly rent, monthly bill, monthly everything. Who can tell me the revenue function? How much you get back? How do you figure that out? R of x is px. And what is p? Per price selling product. Price per selling items. And x is the number of items. So whatever many you are going to sell, you multiply those by their price. How do you find profit? How do you figure out profit? So P, big P of X is revenue minus cost, which is R of X minus C of X. So basically, whatever you get back, you subtract how much you spent for your items, and then whatever left over is the price. Sorry, whatever is left over is your profit. So profit is revenue minus cost. And now finally, we have break even. When do we get break even? When revenue is equal cost. It means you neither lost any money nor gain any money. It's even. But this is not the only way you can figure out the break even. There is one more way you can figure out break even. Can you guess? At the break even, how much money you get for profit? Zero. You didn't gain anything. You don't have any profit. So break even is when the profit is zero. So there are two ways you can calculate break even. One is by setting revenue equal cost. And another one, if you know your profit function, set the profit function equal zero. You can solve for break even. So depending on what information you have, sometimes you use revenue equal cost. You use that when you know your revenue and cost function, revenue and cost function. And if you don't know revenue or cost, but you do know profit function, then you just use it. Any question? So this is what you learned last week. Overhead cost and then? No. What happened? What about your revenue? How much you got back? What about how much money you got back after selling your item? So if you do D equals MX, it means your monthly cost, your monthly bill is same as number of items times their cost. But break even doesn't depend on the cost. Break even depends on how much money you got back. Like break even means at the end, how much is your profit? So if you only look at cost, you never get any profit. So most likely no. Cost function doesn't give us break even. As far as I know. But I'm not an economist, so I'm not sure. But my common sense says no. The selling price per item. This should be the correct way. The selling price per item, and then X is the number of items you're going to sell. Now, since we refreshed our memory, so let's do an example. We know the cost function, we know the revenue function they gave us. They are saying how many items we need to sell to have a break-even point. It's basically they're asking, hey, solve for X from the two equations. So which method we are going to use for break-even? The first one or the second one? We have two methods to find break-even, right? One is revenue equals cost, and another is profit equals zero. So which one is easier for this question? First one. The first one. Because we know revenue, we know cost, we can easily figure out break-even. So break-even, break-even happens when we have revenue equals cost. So revenue function is x squared plus 9x plus 1. And our cost function is 5x plus 22. They're saying how many items, it means what is the x when you solve this equation. So pre-calc is done. Pre-calc was setting up, and now you're going to use algebra. How are you going to solve for x using algebra? What is your first step? You forgot your algebra already? You need to bring everything to one side because you have a highest degree 2. When you have Sec2, your goal is to factor if possible. Subtract 5x, also subtract 22. So we get x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Really? 1 and 22 gives you 21. Okay. Can you think of two numbers? When you multiply them, the answer is negative 21. When you combine them, the answer is positive 4. So x plus 7 and x minus 3. Negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. Negative 7 plus 3 is, sorry, other way around. 7 and negative 3. 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. 7 minus 3 is 4. I should write this nicely. 7 times negative 3. And then what do we do? What is our goal? What you're trying to do? Solve for x. So how do you solve for x? You guys forgot your algebra? You said so. Here they say multiply two factors, the result is 0. When you multiply anything and the result is 0, one of them has to be 0 because 0 times anything is 0. So definitely either this 0 or that 0, but you don't know which one. So he said individually both of them equal 0. We said, well, the first one is 0 or the second one is 0. So if the first one is 0, then x has to be negative 7 to have 0. If the second one is 0, then x has to be 3 in order to be 0. Do we accept both solution? Which one we cannot accept? Why not? Exactly. X cannot be negative because X represents items. So our correct answer is 3. That means when you sell only 3 items, you're going to have a break even. You're neither going to lose any money nor going to gain any money. And after that, you're going to get more money and more money. So you're going to get profit. Or maybe you're going to lose money. Who knows? Okay, try the next one. You didn't have to try one. You can talk with your neighbors and try it. It says, suppose it costs $5 to produce a ball and each ball is sold for $11. So it's $5 you bought each ball and you sold the same ball with $11. So the daily overhead cost is $1,200. So daily you're going to give them $1,200. How many balls per day you must have to sell if you want to have a break even? So they're not doing monthly calculation, they are doing daily calculation. Did they give you any cost function here? Not directly. How about the revenue function? Not directly. So what is your first step? Find them. They didn't give you directly, so you have to find them. Question or done? Done already? Done. 5x to produce, 5x into 100, and then you have $11 to sell.
Morning. Yeah.
Revenue structure. And then so here you put your cost here and there into parts. And this is the revenue numbers.
Yes.
So in the example, it is cost to get revenue.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. How much is it? Yes, sir. To try. Let's do it together. So we know our break even is when revenue equals cost. That means we have to know what is revenue function and cost function. So what is revenue function? You are selling for $11. So what is the revenue function? 11x. You bought each one for $5 plus you have overhead cost $1,200. So what is the cost function? 5x plus 1,200. So that's how I figure out. Break even is revenue and cost. Revenue is $11 from selling price. Cost is whatever you spend to buy plus your monthly rent. And then you're just solving for x. So minus 5x minus 5x, you get 6x is 1,200. So 6 times what gives you 1,200? It's 200. So you have to sell $200 to have a break-even point. And in your final exam, they will give one break-even question, either break-even or profit something question. Okay. So these are good questions for final exam. Since you know the left, that means you can do the right one easily. It costs $6 to produce, but $8 to sell. Your monthly cost is 400. When do you get break even? They're exact same questions, but the number are different. Numbers are different. So $6 to buy, you spend $6 to buy with a monthly bill $400. And you are selling the same item for $8. So if you didn't have your monthly bill, you could easily see that you get, for every item, you are gaining $2 profit. But you cannot say that directly because you have to pay $400 every day. We didn't mention anything about day or month. Ready? Volunteer? Any volunteer? Volunteer? Go ahead. So revenue equals cost, and then 6x plus 400. And then what do you do? Subtract 6x divide by 2. Wow, they both have the same amount, 200. Question? No question? Suppose to produce X items in dollar is given by the cost function this, and the revenue function is that. Find the smallest number of items must be sold to be break even, and then find the profit function. They gave you the cost function, the revenue function. So you don't have to use your brain to find them. You are going to find the smallest number of items you have to sell. What's the least amount of item you have to sell to have the break even? And then figure out your profit functions. So in the final exam, you may see one of these about profit, break even, revenue, cost. Definitely one question from here, from 1.2. Where's the signing sheet? Did everybody sign in the signing sheet? Who needs help? Anybody?
Yeah, so
Really? Fine. How do you like profit? When you're subtracting cost, you're just checking the sign because cost is the price. You check the sign and you and it's actually for negative factors, seven is negative credit cards, but you know.
yeah.
Oh, the difference is negative factors as negative over, and they have it by time. Also negative five factors to the container. You find it on. You don't. Right. Yeah, wrong. You find wrong. What did you do there? How do you find that? Probably doesn't have it. Still wrong. What's the format for the public software? How do you calculate public revenue minus cost? Revenue. Cost revenue. If you write, cost is revenue minus cost. Right. Yeah, how do you calculate? What's the formula for profit? So profit is revenue minus cost. You have to have your format. Revenue first, and then you're subtracting cost. You cannot do cost minus revenue. Cost minus revenue will give you negative profit, which you don't want in your life. It means you're losing money. So it has to be revenue minus cost. So for A, it says do the break even. So break even, we know it's revenue equals cost. Our revenue is negative x squared plus 20x. Our cost is 8x plus 35. Anytime you see highest degree square or cubic function or anything bigger than 1 degree, try to bring everything to one side because your goal is to see if you can factor anything. So you can subtract 8x and subtract 35 minus 8x minus 8x minus 35 minus 35. So you end up getting negative x squared plus 12x minus 35 equals 0. And this is actually profit function. You did revenue minus cost. This is what you did here. But now to solve for x, you don't like negative x squared, so you can multiply everything by -1. So you get positive x squared, negative 12, positive 35 equals 0. That gives us two numbers multiplied to 35 combined to 12 is -5, -7. And since their product has to be 0, one of them definitely has to be 0. We don't know which one, so we said both of them equal 0. That tells us x is 7 and x is 5. Since we have two solutions, that's why they're asking for the smallest number of items. Which one is smallest, 7 or 5? 5. The answer is 5. In the final exam, if this is a multiple choice question and you see both 7 and 5 and you pick 7, you get wrong because 7 is not the smallest one. You have to pick 5, the smallest one. Profit is revenue minus cost. So to start like this, profit is what? Revenue minus cost. So revenue is negative x squared plus 20x, and you're subtracting 8x and 35. When you subtract a cost, the sign is changed in the cost function. It doesn't have any equals to 0. On the left side, you have p of x. And on the right side, you have your function. So the function they're looking for is negative x squared, positive 12x, negative 35. You cannot give this as a profit function because this is not the profit function. We made it this way so that we can solve for x easily. The actual profit function has a negative in the front. So it's an upside down parabola. But what do you have on the top? It's an upward parabola. So definitely they are wrong. They're not same. Okay. Any question? So the last topic in this section is linear depreciation. It means you buy something today with original price. The more you use your item, the less it's going to cost when you try to sell it. For example, you can buy a new car with $100,000 today. Did you already sign in? So let's say you have you bought a car with $100,000. Each year, it's going to lose $10,000 in price. So if you try to sell it next year, its cost will be $90,000, not $100,000 anymore. And then the next year, it's going to lose another $10,000. So after 2 years, if you try to sell it, it will cost $80,000 instead of $100,000. So every year you're going to lose some money. So call it depreciation. It goes down. So it's a linear function that is decreasing. You buy the high price, and each year you're going to lose money if you try to sell it. But since it's a linear function, so it has a format y equals mx plus b, and in M, has to be negative number. So it's a negative mx plus b, but here in this scenario, they like to use these variables. A of t equals negative mt plus b. A of t, it means value at time t. Thank you. So some will use A of t, some will use b of t. It depends. Basically, it means the y value. T is time in years, and v, or the y-intercept, is the original price. So per year, how much money you are going to lose, times how many years you spent after you bought it, plus the original price. So from the original price, you're subtracting the depreciation rate per year. So what's the depreciation rate, the M? It's the cost, the final cost minus the initial cost divided by how long time you spent. That's annual depreciation amount. The final minus initial divided by number of years spent. And this type of questions sometimes comes in the final exam. You have to write all the details. You can simply write this. What's the equation and what each variable means. So step one here, we have to find the slope, means the depreciation rate per year. So it says a taxi driver buys a new car with $50,000 today. The car will have a scrap value of $10,000 after 8 years. It means after 8 years, the price of the car will be $10,000. Use the straight line depreciation method to find the value of the car after 4 years. So he knows today the price is $50,000. After 8 years, the price will be $10,000. So he'd like to know, well, if he decides to sell his car after 4 years, how much money that will cost? I mean, the price of the car will be after 4 years. So first we have to see what's the annual depreciation rate. Per year, how much money the car is going to lose. So the formula is final minus initial divided by time. So we know we spent eight years. After 8 years, the car becomes $10,000. And what's the initial price? 50,000. So what do you get here? 10,000 minus 50,000. It means the final amount. Final amount, or we call it scrap value. Oh, true. Oh, that's because they already put the negative here. If you use this formula, if negative is built in. And if you have a negative built in negative, that means if you use this, you're going to get double negative, which is a problem because you have to only one single negative. So if you don't use this negative, then you're going to find manually M. But they're saying, if you use the formula, keep your negative and use this formula to find your M. So I'm not using that, I'm finding M manually. So if you find it manually, we can see directly here, we're going to get a negative result. 10,000 minus 50,000, you get positive or negative? Negative, because you're losing money. So we can see directly here that we have a negative M. 40,000 over 8. So how much per year? How many years you spent? And the car becomes $10,000? You're going to find after 4 years how much is the money. So first you have to know your annual depreciation rate. So you know after 8 years is 10,000. So if you can calculate then how much per year, you can easily figure out after 4 years how much money you're going to lose. So what's the depreciation rate? Negative 5,000 means each year you're losing $5,000. So in 4 years, how much you're going to lose? 20,000. So what would be the value after 4 years? Value after 4 years. Y equals mx plus b. Our ym is negative 5,000. So y equals mx plus b is same as they are saying it's the final amount of t m times t plus original price. This is what it means. Y equals mx plus b. B is the original price, M is whatever you have, and T is how many years you are spending after buying the car. So every year we are losing 5,000. And we want to see after 4 years how much is left. And our original price is 50,000. So this is what you do if you do it mathematically. But if you use logic, it's simple. Per year, you're losing 5,000. So in 4 years, you're going to lose 20,000. So from 50,000, if you lose 20,000, how much is the price? 30,000. So the answer here should be negative 20,000, positive 50,000, which is 30,000. So this is math, and the other method is logic. You can do both, but if you use logic, make sure you tell me your process. How did you figure that out? Question. With this, we actually done it 1.2. Still we did section 1.1, 1.2. Is there anybody here who still doesn't have MyMathLab access? So all of you have your MyMathLab access? That means section 1.1 due date is tonight midnight, and section 1.2 due will be next week Tuesday midnight. Okay. Now we are going to do 1.3. Any question before you move to 1.3? So you have two choices. Either we are going to do 1.3 straight, or you can have 5 minutes chit chat time to break your ice in this class. Be friends with your neighbors. Would you like that, or do you want me to go straight to the 1.3? Any preference? I'm going to give you time because you're like, Robert, you don't know what's going on in the class. So enjoy the class for 10 minutes. Make friends with your neighbors. Have fun. And then we are going to do 1.3. 1.3 mostly calculator section. I don't have the calculator, so we're going to do it manually. But before that, no phones. No phones. 10 minutes, be human beings. Talk with your neighbors. Okay? You can talk as loudly as you want. Introduce yourself to your neighbors. If you like, exchange your information. Why are you alone here? Be pressing down. Turn around. Stop. Right. What safety, what profession you have. How you doing? How do you
I didn't even write that. I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah, those guys don't want to like take those ones still saying so they did a bunch of like follow on to right now, like for winter break, oh, we said like last week in January. I was talking to her. Yeah, science. Somebody was like, oh, I can't. That's like if you want. I recommend do it, but like, if you can't do it out of the company, then you know. Yeah. That's right. What it is. I wouldn't recommend doing it. Like, forget to, like, you know, and like. Yeah. Kind of fun as you're trying to do. If you want to, I'll recommend doing it's not hard work, it's just like, I know you keep on it. If it was so that's yeah. I know Friday sounds terrible, but Friday most like most people don't Friday, right? Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday. That's like what I have. I only have class on Wednesday and Friday. Like or no Wednesday, Thursday, like 2 days. Five. Yeah. 15, 15, right? Probably one class of college. Yeah, it's five.
Now let's go to learning. Section 1.3. We are going to talk about linear regression, and there will be one question in the final exam from this section. And most likely it will be in the calculator part. So what you're going to learn here, you can easily solve it using calculator. But I don't have my calculator. I don't have a built-in calculator here. You're going to need graphing calculator for this. So, scatter plot. Scatter plot is a bunch of points when you plot them on the same plane. So you call them scatter plot. They have x value, they have y value. And when you have a scatter plot, we have to see, like, we plot all those points. So we gather data, and then we have to see whatever data we have, do they have some type of relationship? Do they have any connection? Do they have any trend? Like, is there any way we can connect them together with any type of common theme? So in order to find that out, we plot all those data points on the same plane, and we see what type of relation they have, if they have any. If they do have any, then we can try finding out that relationship by drawing a line through the points, which is called line of best fit, or the least square line, or the regression equation. Example. Let's say we have, now actually let me show you 4 types. Let's say we have first type here. A bunch of points lying around. Do you see any relation here? They don't represent anything. They're just a bunch of points playing around on the plane. It doesn't have any relation. But how about we have this? Now, do you observe anything here? What type of relation they have? They have a positive relation because anytime x is smaller, y is smaller. If x is bigger, y is bigger. So they have a relation which we can find out by drawing a line that goes through most of the points. That line is called the least square line or regression line, or the line of best fit. You may have this type of relation. What type of relation is here? It's not strong enough, but you do have some type of relation. If you try to draw a line through all points, you have a decreasing line. So they have a weak relation, which is negative. So negative weak relation. Here we have a stronger positive relation. And then you may have something like this. What do you observe here? Do you have any linear relation here? You have a quadratic, which is upside down. So you have a negative quadratic relation here. So you may have no relation like this. You may have linear relations like this, or you may have non-linear relation like this. So there are many types of relation. We look at linear ones. If we do have a linear relation, they have to be either positive or negative. Now, ignore all of this. Now, the line I was drawing, the red line, our goal is to find out the equation for that. So to find out the equation, we know every line is the equation y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. This is the format for any line in slope intercept form. For regression, they don't like to use m, they like to use a instead of the slope, instead of m. So they said, well, it's y equals ax plus b. But we know we already learned it's mx plus b. They said, no, I don't like the letter m. I want to use a. We said, okay, no problem, use a. But then, to find those a and b, we have to use the formula. A has a complicated formula, and B has a little bit easier, but in order to find B, you definitely need to find A first, because B needs A in the formula. So you have to memorize the formula. If you use manual method to find the regression line, and you don't have to memorize the formula if this question is in the calculator part, where you don't need to find anything manually. But in the in-class exam, I'm going to give this the non-calculator question. So in the non-calculator question, you will see the numbers are smaller. So you can find everything easily. When you have in the calculator section, they'll give you big numbers so that you can use calculator to find everything else. Okay. One example, it says find the best fit linear regression equation for this following data set. In this data set, we have x -1, y9, x2, y8, x4, y5, x6, y3. So we know the equation. It's y equals ax plus b. So all you have to do is find what is a and what is b. But in order to find that, we need to use the formula. So let's say this is X column, this is Y column. So we have -1, 2, 4, 6. Y has 9, 8, 5, 3. Now let's observe our formula. It says multiply XY, get the total. That symbol is called sum, means total. So we need to know how much is the total of the product XY. So we have to have a column for X times Y. XY. So we're going to multiply. -1 times 9, -9. And then what's the product for the next line? 2 times 8, 16. The third line, 20. The fourth line, 18. So we have the first term. Oh, also we need to know the sum, the total, the sum. So when you add all of these manually, without even calculator, how much you get? 8 and 9 gives us 17. 17 plus 6 is 23. So we have 3 here with 2 extra. 2 plus 1 is 3, 4, 5, 6. 63. So we found sum of XY means total of X times Y. Then the formula says find the sum of X and sum of Y. We have to find sum of X and sum of Y. If we add all of these, 6, 10, 12, minus 1, 11. -9, yeah, thank you. Oh man, that means this is wrong. Tell me the correct answer, please. 16 minus 9 is 5. Okay, so 5, 25, and 18. 3, 4, 5, 6. How come it's just same thing? The 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 53. Really? 8, 5, 3, 2, 3, 43. Is it correct? Is it 43? 45? Are you sure?
Was it 25 plus 20?
45. 16 minus, so we have 18 minus 9 is 9. Thank you. But X is correct, right? Sum of X. How about the sum of Y? How much is the sum of Y? 18, 9 gives us -1. -1 plus 5 is 4. 4 plus is 7. Did you say 7? Okay. Thank you. So we found sum of X, sum of Y, sum of XY, and we go to the denominator. Denominator says find sum of X square. Huh?
So, -9 for Y, is it like supposed to be?
Sorry. This is +9 because we have -1. Come on, what's wrong with me? -1 times 9 is -9. So you're going to add all of them, no subtraction. So 16, no. 8, 8, 16, 24, 25. Is it 25? Yay, this time I got it correct. So we go to the denominator. It says now find sum of x squared. That means you need to square each quantity, right? So our fourth column is for x squared. We multiply every x. That is -1 squared, +1, and then 2 squared, 4, 4 squared, 6 squared, 36. And it says now add all of them. Sum of x squared. How much? 57. I'm trusting him. You guys check. Is it 57? Great. So we have all the information we need to replace in the A equation. So you go find A. The N you see, N means number of X values or number of data points. So how many X you see? 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 data points. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pairs. So your N is 4. So you replace N with 4. And then you multiply that with sum of xy. How much we have for sum of xy? 45. And you're subtracting sum of x times sum of y. How much is the sum of x? And you're multiplying sum of y. 25. On the denominator, you still have your 4. And this time you're multiplying sum of x squared. How much is sum of x squared? 57. And now finally it says, take sum of x and square the quantity. So what is sum of x? 11. So square the 11. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items, and we have all 7 things here. That means you just have to do the math, blah, 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 blah. So one of you try to do the math on calculator. Since you don't have time, so let me not do it manually. And once you know our A, we can go ahead and solve for B. B needs, let me change the color. How long time I have? 20%. I think it's gonna be fine. Here. B says take sum of y. So we have sum of y here, 25. Then take your A. We don't know that yet. So first find A. And then multiply by sum of x. This is sum of x. So you're going to multiply by 11. Whatever you have, divide by n. What is our n? 4. So the only thing we need now is A. So find A. Did anybody got A yet? What do you have? 95 over 107. Are you sure?
Yeah, I got that.
See? Oh man. So we have negative 95 over 107. And then you do the math. So this is 25 plus 95 times 11 on the top divided by 107. Whatever you get at the end, divide that by 4. If you turn this into decimal, what do you get for this 95 over 107? Huh? 0.9. And solve for B. Oh, okay. And tell me the decimal. So in the exam, if I give you something, I'll give you something easier to calculate without using calculator. Did you find B yet? No. Okay, so we have 95 times 11. You are dividing by 107. Whatever you have, you're adding 25 with that. Whatever you have, you're dividing by 4. 8.69. 8.69. So you found your A, you found your B. Now they want you to write down the formula. Formula is y equals ax plus b. It means it's y equals negative 0.9x plus this 8.69. What type of line you have, increasing or decreasing? Huh? Decreasing because the slope is negative. So if you look at here, if you plot this, when this is negative 1, you have 9 here. When it's 2, you have 8 here. When it's 4, it's 5 here. And when it's 3, it's 6 here. So it's a straight line. It's kind of like this. I'm drawing here, but for some reason it's moving there. So this is the line of best fit. Now I have a website here. Or 2 websites where you can easily find how to draw or how to get the equation of the line of best fit in TI-89 and TI-84. Or you can simply search on Google or on YouTube how to find regression line on your calculator. So department does not like the TI-89 or TI-92, but if you have TI-84, it's also fine. Okay. So for your homework, try to find out how can you solve this in a calculator, in a graphing calculator. In our next class, which is day after tomorrow, we are going to do more examples on this. And then we are going to do a little bit more, which is called correlation coefficient. And then it will be done at 1.3. So enjoy today. See you again on Thursday.